I moved the mic.
You gotta start rapping, Joe.
Move the mic. I moved the mic. I rode my bike later this evening.
In the rain.
5, 4,
Whisper rapping in the rain.
3,
That would be
2.
Oh, that was not good. You said that.
He's eating
1.
with this today.
Uno, dos.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening, everyone.
How dare you try to mute me while I'm trying to
try.
eat So, I'm going to let y'all know, I'm going to be eating throughout the show. So,
you better mute yourself then.
You're just going to have to deal with it.
It's like when my kids talk.
What did you get?
You know, I was so mad that y'all both were out getting something to eat because I was like, oh, I really wanted to go, but yeah, that didn't happen.
Well, I just went and had a non-dairy dilly bar from Dairy Queen.
What kind of sense does that make? I'm just curious.
What you mean, girl?
I'm happy for you. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy you got yourself a dilly bar, but I'm just like, what kind of world do we live in where Dairy Queen makes a non-dairy dilly bar?
Kate said they should have a non-dairy queen.
Oh,
hey, that's pretty good.
There you go.
That's pretty good.
That makes a little bit more sense now. That I get that.
I'm trying to share in between bites.
I've already shared it.
So check this out.
How is everybody? Oh, she added color to it.
She sure did.
That's
she put.
Cool.
I don't know if you can see it up here. It says donut lips.
Donut lips. I can see the donut lips. I can't.
Isn't that amazing though? My kid drew that.
Hey, how about those teeth? Those are perfect teeth.
For real though.
Do y'all ever look at people's teeth when they smile? I do.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at them whenever they eat, and it grosses me out. But when they smile, I'm kind of like, what?
Oh my goodness! Hold on, just a second.
What did you say, Joe? I swear he said I touched them.
I said I judged them.
Oh, judged them. I thought he said I touched them.
You judge who?
People in their teeth.
That's the first thing I look at.
Is it really?
Like, hey, how are you?
How's who?
The teeth.
Linda says hi.
Hi, Linda.
Did you figure out a way to hang up your Chunkly University right there?
No,
I wouldn't go back.
I'm gonna have to do
either. Hi, Madeline, even though Joe interrupted you.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Madeline. So
and I just had an ice cream sandwich.
Right here. Let's see.
Off to the side.
Nice.
You are brave because I won't even touch my camera after the show starts because I'm like, it won't catch all the green.
Oh, that was the whole monitor moving.
Yeah. So I know that Madeline wants to work at Chick-fil-A, and that's where we went today. So Chick-fil-A, if you're listening, you owe me a plug.
Right?
For real, though.
Yeah, we'll definitely send you a invoice. And
Chick-fil-A normal, I get one too. So just FYI.
Go ahead and send that over to the Lord. He'll take care of it for you.
Oh my gosh. You know, I always think that's my wife, right? But then the puppy, like that's just not Dr. Pineapple's.
I'm so good.
If my kid wasn't as vain as her daddy, she's the one that drew the lips. So
I can teach you to make lips, guys. All right, let's do this.
You make a video, baby, and we'll post it up on here. Okay?
Exactly.
Everyone wants to see it. How was your day, Sandy?
Tutorial. Let me see. What did I do? Oh my gosh! So funny story. I had a customer in my office. They got there right at 11:45. They did not end up leaving my office till about 2. We talked about everything under the sun, wrote a little policy, but we just talked about everything. You know, I love to talk. Y'all know that. And so anyway, it was so funny. We just talked and talked, and she was like, "Yeah, this is my day off." And her daughter was so over us, and her and I just kept right on talking.
She was like, "Mom, can we go?"
Honestly, that policy just took like at least 30 minutes. The rest of us was just talking about life in general. I was talking to him about dairy-free stuff.
Dairy-free, sugar-free, and gluten-free.
Yes, we talked about that. What else did we talk about? She works up at the hospital. And, just everything.
To those frontline workers.
Yes. So anyway, she was super awesome. So we enjoyed it. We had a good visit.
We know, baby. We knew it was you. Good night.
Good night, baby.
Hi, B.
We talked about you yesterday.
We sure did. I hope you go and watch it.
Yeah.
People were saying they wanted you back instead of Joe. It was like, whoa.
I know. They were like, Joe does not do better count.
They said you do. B. They said you have a better sign off, even though we've forgotten it a couple days in a row.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't do
sure
it again
did.
today.
Anyway, so I took a nap today.
Woo!
Hashtag nap together 6 foot apart.
I fell asleep during Fatal Vows.
That sounds familiar. You
True
were telling me
crime.
about that. Yes.
Crazy. It's kind of boring. I was like, yeah, she murdered him. I knew it. All right.
She offed him. She offed him, everyone.
We were going to start our true crime thing today, but I fell asleep. My cold case cracker.
Oh, okay. Carrie's asking if that's your scepter.
This is my Bob Barker microphone, Carrie. Does my sound a lot better? I love it.
Yeah, it does. Joe's eating food. Dad and Sandy are talking.
That's usually what we do, baby girl.
Yeah, that's how.
Today it's very rainy.
What in the world is going on over there?
Don't touch
He always
the
has
hair.
to come in
Go away.
and touch Daddy's hair, doesn't he?
He's all... This kid's always trying to mess up my hair.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
For that. Oh, that's
unbelievable.
What you make him mow. He messes up your hair. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
How was your day, Joe?
my day. What did I do today?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty much.
Actually, I did go to work, and then I finished up what I needed to work on, and I actually have to go out of town tomorrow. So I'm going out of town to do a demo, and then I did a photo shoot, and then I switched my microphone around here, so it was coming from above, and then angled down. So now I have it this way, and pointed this way here, like a normal. Sorry, did that come through?
Not below me.
It's like Oscar Mayer came
right, yeah.
in the face.
So I'm just wondering if it sounds better now. So
I feel like it sounds like I'm picking up your chewing sounds.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra noise, but whatever.
Just put it back.
Okay, I'm gonna put it back.
It started again. It was gone for a minute, then it came back.
Not
There
funny.
it is again.
Not funny.
Almost like static.
Not funny. Anyways, how was your day, Jamie?
I worked, and then I had a chicken sandwich, and then I came home. Oh my gosh, guys. I came home, and are y'all like me right now? Is everyone else in the country trying to figure out what to do with their kids this school year?
Nope, I already figured it out. That's one thing I did.
No one asked you. We are just wondering.
No, you did ask.
I
so
want to know
answering.
what everyone's doing, because if y'all got some neat little web links to some places that are going to help you supplement your kids, either schooling or some life stuff at home, like, hey, go ride a bike with my kids so that, they're okay and active, let me know. I'm just curious.
So I'm leaving it up to my kid. I mean, he's 14. He's starting high school. I feel like it's a crucial part, and I want him to have a decision in making what he wants to, in making his decision.
Yep. I let both my kids decide, and we read through the thing, and I said, look, it says this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Do you agree? And they're like, do it. And so did it. It's done.
Well, we'll just wait till the last minute. I got the email a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
We'll just do it later.
I think if you're going to do online, you have until the 2nd. August 2nd.
Oh, plenty of time. Oh, my.
You have plenty of time.
Anyway, I'm curious. Let me know what you guys are doing out there.
Thanks, Carrie. See, this is why I don't put A+ work in, because it's nothing. It sounds
right.
exact same. So
sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
So that's all. I didn't stress tonight. It was my mom's birthday. It is my mom's birthday, guys. So if you can go in the comments and say happy birthday, don't call her Mama Pineapples, because she's not a pineapple, okay? Just say happy birthday, Jay Pineapple's mom.
Okay.
Is
I'll
she
do
okay
that.
with that? Is she okay with
Yeah.
this? Can we just say Jamie? Does she call you Jamie?
No, I don't want to repeat what she calls me because I don't like it.
All right.
Starts with a W.
Mijo.
No. Yeah, the
Well,
other W. Yeah, Sandy, exactly.
she calls me
I hate
well.
how you knew that. I hate how you knew that.
That does not start with the W.
Well, it starts with my W.
Hey, Jamie.
What does it start with?
A G.
I see it now. I see it. What's up, Joe?
No, you don't.
Hey, Jamie. Who do we
What?
have on the show today?
Guys, I have an excellent guest for us tonight. I actually really, really, really like this guy.
Because he
His name
doesn't like people in the past.
Because what?
You were like, I actually like this guy. And I'm like,
Yeah, I don't-
Exactly. Why would you even start with that?
Why would y'all say that?
That's like a
so-
backhanded compliment.
why would you say
I
that?
wish I could backhand y'all right now.
Why
Anyhow,
would you say that, sir?
talking about Brian Tellor's coming on tonight. Now, let me tell you a little story about this guy before he comes on that encouraged me about him. I met this guy. We'll talk about that, but he went on Facebook Live and took up this challenge that was 10 days doing Facebook Live videos so that he could get over his fear. Maybe he'll use a different word. I'll say fear. So he could get over his fear of doing basically what we do with you guys every night, is just going going in front of a camera and being ourselves and talking, and having a bunch of people out there comment back to us. And I was like, oh, I want to support this guy. So I tried to follow him every single night he went on Facebook Live and see him just go through his development of not having any experience or little experience to him getting to the point where he was like, I feel comfortable. I can do this. I'm good. And I was like, yes, man. And so just taking that spirit, that attitude, and hearing the stuff that he's going to talk about tonight, I'm so encouraged. I hope that you guys feel encouraged about what's going on. But if I would say anything, if you have a struggle or challenge or fear that you want to work through or get through, you're in the right episode tonight to hear from someone who could probably help you with that. So without anything else being said, let's welcome Brian Tellor to the show. What's up,
Hello.
Brian?
Hi, Brian. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. I'm glad to hear I'm Jamie's favorite guest ever since
And
the
that he actually likes you, Brian.
he likes
Yeah.
me. And
Good.
is my teeth okay, Joe, Sandy?
Yeah.
I know you guys are
Yeah.
judging me right now.
No,
But
he's-
I tried to brush them before I come on.
No,
Brian?
everyone talks about my teeth, so I totally am not going to talk about somebody else's teeth.
Brian,
But I will
judged
judge you.
you earlier.
What's that?
I said I judged you earlier in the pre-show.
Oh, that's right. You got me before I knew you were looking at my teeth. Jeez.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, actually? I didn't realize this, Brian. You call me Jamie too. And guys, so I still use Jamie to anyone where I work. That's the only caveat up here in the North. As I introduce myself to Jamie with people who I've worked before. So when people in the North call me Jamie, I automatically know I worked with them somewhere.
Right.
So
Your name tag just should say "Hi, May."
Hi,
like,
yeah.
like Miss
I
Carrie
wish I
Pat
could-
Jackson says it.
I wish I could just. So anyway, Brian, I know you because I've known you for a few years now. I've experienced some of your speeches, but for all of our friends and everyone else around here, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, a little bit about myself. That's kind of a loaded statement question because there's a lot, I think, to me in depth. So I'm just going to I'm going to go way back and I'm going to start and give you a
Back in
summary of my life. So I was born and raised in Kankakee, Illinois. 1974, I was born, right? So dating
Happy
myself.
birthday.
Yeah, I just had a birthday last month, but nonetheless, I grew up. We were, single mother. She was. My dad left when I was 2. My mom had to work and do what she had to do to survive. So I didn't get a lot of mom and son time with her. My stepfather came into the picture when I was about 7 or 8, and for the first year everything was okay. But after that, I don't know if he and I knew how to take each other, and so there was a lot of conflict and a lot of headbutting. And I was insecure. I was a shy kid. I didn't have much to say, and he. I'll say that I struggled through a little bit of emotional abuse for a couple years as I was growing up in my household. I was bullied and pushed around a little bit in elementary school and junior high. I got to high school. I became became a little more rebellious, and I actually moved out of my parents' house when I was 16. When I was 17, I had got suspended from school for fighting and decided on a whim that me and my buddy, we needed to go to Florida, right? So we took off and we went to Florida, very independent. We just, left a note for his dad. I sent my mom a letter, said, hey, I'm going to Florida. I lasted there about 3 months until the money ran out, and then I had to come back. So luckily,
Oh,
she let me come back, and I graduated high school. So, didn't hurt me too bad. Uh, but after high school is kind of when things really started getting interesting, because you got to keep in mind, I was a pretty insecure guy, but I put on this facade, right? I wanted to be the tough guy. I wanted to be big and intimidating. And so I started running around with the rough crowd, started getting into the gang element a little bit for a couple years. And doing a lot of getting in trouble, got arrested, and when I turned 21, I decided, for some reason, I just decided it was time to grow up, and so that's when I wanted to make a positive difference in my life. So I started working and keeping a job for a change, and through my 20s, I met the mother of my children. We did end up getting married. We dated for a long time because I'm a little scared of, or at least at the time, I was scared of commitment, right? So I think we dated for about 7 years before we finally got married. We have 2 wonderful teenage boys. My oldest, Gavin, is getting ready to go to college this year.
Oh, awesome.
My youngest getting ready to turn 16 and start driving. So I've got like 2,
Yeah.
unfortunately, their mother and I did end up divorcing. And a lot of that, I hold that against myself. I take accountability for that, because here's the thing: that insecurity that I carried, it required a lot of positive affirmation, right? I needed to surround myself with people that would build me up. That was the only way I could find self-worth. And so, needless to say, I wasn't the most faithful husband in the world, and we did get divorced. And that was around the age of 40, and that's kind of when I feel like my transformation started. At 40, I was depressed. I didn't know it at the time, or maybe I started to realize it, but I didn't want to admit it, because there was a stigma in my mind. At least there was going to be this stigma about being a depressed individual or suffering from depression. But I used to wake up every day and sit on the edge of the bed and try to think of any excuse I could to call in sick to work. I just wanted to lay in bed. I didn't want to do anything, which was terrible because I got 2 boys, young boys at the time. And one day I was sitting there, I call it my coming to Bill Gates moment. I'm sitting there and I'm having this conversation in my head, and I'm like, okay, well, I kind of got a headache. Oh, I kind of got a sore throat. Oh, my foot kind of hurts. I'm going through all these excuses. And then I hear this, I don't know how to explain it, but I hear this voice like, hey, dummy, what is your problem? Bill Gates works with the same 24 hours that you work with. Why is he so successful and you're not? And that epiphany, whatever you want to call it, it started me down this path of, okay, I need to get my stuff together. I need to learn to love myself. I need to learn to stop being so afraid of life, and I need to get out there. And then that kind of led to me and you meeting, Mr. Pineapples, because we ended up, Toastmasters was one of the, public speaking was one of those things that I wanted to overcome. And so that's kind of my life in a nutshell. It's been a rough patch. It's had its peaks and valleys, and there's a lot to it. And really, the simple answer when somebody says, "Who are you?" I usually like to just respond by saying I'm a perfectly imperfect man.
I love
Good
it.
response.
And that's the truth,
Oh, that's me. Me too.
Yeah.
Well, your definition is perfectly imperfect. His is C+ work.
2% effort every time.
So I definitely want to first let you know, Brian, we are a very positive, pro mental health group here.
Mhm.
And for us, therapy, just mental health in general is serious, and we look at it with positive. There's not, my wife is a therapist. Joe's wife, she works in
Child Protective
oh my
Services.
God. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Child Protective Services. So we definitely are not like critical of that kind of stuff. We think, in my opinion, actually, I think everyone would benefit from therapy. To be honest with you,
Oh yeah,
um,
I agree.
it's great when you can pay someone to listen to you. I think it
I
sounds silly,
wish
but it's great,
I wish therapy was like couples therapy was required before you got married, because I think we'd
right?
see a lot better relationships, especially with the men and women when you're coming in with your baggage, and to you it doesn't seem like baggage, but it is. It's
Right.
So, having said that, I've also had the pleasure of listening to you speak before, and I don't remember the topic of your first speech, but I can definitely remember the feeling after seeing you walk away from the stage. I was like, oh, I know this guy is going to be one. He is going to actually speak to many people. Like, he is going to be one who tells a story, because that was the thing. You were an excellent storyteller, and
yeah.
so you have to be an excellent storyteller when you're going to be in speech and you have a message to share with people.
Yeah.
So speak.
Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead. No, I was just going to say, a lot of I consider myself, when it comes to speaking, I consider myself an experiential speaker, and I'm always, when I'm coming up with a concept or a topic to speak on, I'm always writing or rehearsing to an audience of one, right? And that's to myself. That message that I want to put through to the world or whoever will listen, that message starts with me, because it's something I've either been through or I'm going through, and so that's, I think for me that's why storytelling is so important, is because it's coming from the heart. I don't just write for the sake of writing.
Hmm. So with that, tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days.
So these days, this year's been an interesting year, 2020. Of course, we all know everything that's
No,
going on
I don't know
out in
what
the
you're talking
world.
about.
Uh,
What are you saying?
Are you talking
but
about the Washington football team?
yes, the Washington football team. Somebody got paid to come up with that jingle,
Right?
and they probably got paid
Right?
a lot.
Why couldn't it have been me?
And you know
Yeah,
what, Ryan?
I
It
want
wasn't
that
any
job.
of us that got paid to come up with it.
Right, exactly. Right.
I didn't even get paid to come up with the social and distancing show.
This year, though, I mean, for me personally, has been has been an interesting year without everything that's going on in society. I've had a really pretty big struggle with depression and anxiety this year, so that's something that I've been fighting through, and it's prompted me to revisit something that came to me a couple years ago. It was a presentation that I gave in front of Toastmasters, and I don't remember, because I don't know how many people are aware of Toastmasters, but there's typically a theme they want you to follow for a presentation or a speech. And for this one, I wanted to give something motivational, speaking from experiences. And as I started to rehearse it, or research what I want to talk about, I came up with this concept of conquering Everest. And I'm thinking, okay, that sounds pretty interesting. My life's been, it's kind of been an up and down, peaks and valley. And actually, at the time, I had a mentor, or I'll say a life coach, that I think that the topic actually came from a visit with him, and we were talking about one of the things that I struggle with is getting. I'm really excited out of the gate, but then I get to a certain plateau and I stall. And I think it's that we were talking about weight, because I've been up and down in weight my entire life. And so he used this analogy. Well, you're climbing up the mountain, and then you get to a point where you look out and you say, "Man, this is a wonderful view," and you get comfortable and you get complacent and you just stay there instead of continuing your climb to the top. Yep. Oh, that's you. I thought I had a question from the
Nope,
Yeah,
crowd.
right here.
no.
But so I came up with the speech conquering Everest, and I read about Sir Edmund Hillary, and he was the one of the first two individuals to make the full climb and reach the peak of Everest. And what I found fascinating about that is 13. Now this is way back when, right before any of us were alive, but 13.
Joe was alive.
You were alive.
Joe
Joe's
was.
been a
Joe's
while.
alive.
He's been here
Okay.
for a while, Brian.
It's the Botox. But he's so 13 expeditions tried to climb this mountain and they all failed, including Sir Edmund Hillary. But and he could have quit, he could have walked away, but he didn't, and he went one last time, and he made the climb. Thing is after he conquered Everest, after he made that climb, everybody started making that climb, right? There's been
Right.
over 4,000 people to date. I think at the last, I mean, that number's probably even greater, that have conquered Everest and gone above and beyond what Sir Edmund Hillary did.
Wow.
And so to me, I'm like, isn't that so true? If we can just find it within ourselves to make that climb, to do whatever it takes to fight through the cold, the harsh conditions, whatever it is, and get to that peak, not only are we now successful and we've made that climb and we've accomplished something, it puts us in a position to help others. If nothing else, we can be an influence and an inspiration for others. So that's where Conquering Everest started a couple years ago. And this year, as I've been going through the challenges
Whoa.
that I've been going through, I've read it. And I said, I always said I was going to write a book about that speech or off of that speech. And so I've started writing the book again. And I've started a podcast, which is it's new, only 2 episodes deep right now. But that's, it's kind of serving as a bit of therapy for me as I go through these peaks and valleys this year, more so than others. But it's one I'm determined to conquer, and hopefully I can inspire and help others. Once I've gotten to that peak. So,
Wow. I think listening to you speak, Brian, I'm thinking it's kind of weird. So part of me wants to say welcome, because you are part of. I feel like we are on our Everest kind of situation, because you say you're only 2 episodes deep, but I say, dude, like, it takes enough effort to have the thought and the idea and the serious consideration, but to cross that boundary and make your first step and make that first episode, like, you are on the other side. From my view, you're on the other side now. And
yeah.
I think, man, we talk about, like, we've talked about it with Joe a million times. We talked about doing this for 20 years. 20
No,
years.
at least 2.
Hush your mouth. It was not 2. Literally a couple decades.
I'm not
It
that
started
old.
off as a joke, and then would stay a joke for more than 18 years. And so then it was until, this year where we finally were like, dude, let's just do this, man.
Yeah, we got nothing better to do, y'all. It's Friday.
And so, I think I applaud you for having the challenges in life, but then to come on and be like, I want to do something, and I'm going to start doing it, and then working towards it.
Right.
I hope
think-
you get to look back on this one day and be like,
Right.
man, I was there.
And for me, Brian, I feel like you are talking to 99% of, who hasn't had those peaks and challenges, and then and not even know that you're depressed. That's something that.
That storm.
Oh, we might have lost her.
That's unusual.
We lost you there, Sandy.
I know, I lost y'all, and I'm like, that's weird.
But we have you back now.
Yeah, but anyway, so I think, that's amazing that now you are, you're learning from that, and then you're going to do a book about it, and that you're just reaching people that otherwise don't know, that they're going through through things like that you're going through. So
Right.
Yeah, it's tough if you're, I for a long time I didn't realize I was depressed. I was self-medicating, but it wasn't with like drugs or alcohol. I was, like I said, I needed people around me that would boost me up.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of empty relationships and or friendships, because I was only there to be told that I was a good father, that I was a good husband, that I was a good man, that I was and that was all I was giving and putting into it. I was, that was my way of suppressing the depression, which eventually, when I decided, after I did get divorced, the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to fix whatever was broken inside of me. I knew that I needed to learn to love, to love myself. And so as I started to build that, and I realized, okay, hey, I've got to learn to be proud of myself. I've got to learn to love myself. I can't let other people dictate how I feel. And so it's been tough, because then at least for me, I get rid of the things that I was using to suppress the feelings. I got rid of it. I stopped it. Cold turkey. And then bam, smack me in the face, depression and anxiety. It's like, what you gonna do now? You got
Right.
no
Right.
you got no coverage. We got you. So it's tough because this year especially, I've been going through a lot, and it's you know it, you
I think
just
what
gotta accept it. And
Right. So what I hear you saying is that you have to remember that your journey is your journey, and as
yeah,
long as you feel like you're moving forward, then it's still a journey. Whether or not you push those things aside and they come, they start creeping back, but you are able to realize that and then push them away. That's where the journey and the growth is coming from. It may be slow growth, it may not be as fast as you want to, but at least you're moving forward. And I think that's a message that a lot of people need to hear. It's like, take those small steps, take that
right.
small little step, but keep stepping.
Yeah, and a big part of that for a lot of us, and I would say probably most of us, the reason we stall or the reason we allow ourselves to get comfortable and then start backsliding on our ambitions or goals is that fear creeps back in, and fear is a killer. It will shut you down fast. And that it was mentioned, I did the Facebook challenge, and it was, I wasn't comfortable on camera. you know I don't want it. I'm looking at myself now and I'm fine with it. But there was a point in time that I'm fine. I competed in a contest through Toastmasters, and I stood up in front of a room of 100 plus people and gave a speech, and I was as comfortable as I could be. But you put me on camera, it's like, what? So you've got to learn how to. For me, facing those fears, I always say, you just got to step up to fear and put two middle fingers in its face and say, me and you were going toe to toe, and you're not winning this battle. And so that's really a big message, and that's something I want to get out there is because fear
It's
held me
crippling.
back for
It's
40
crippling.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
for 40 years, fear held me back. And when I finally decided that I wasn't going to let fear rule me, that's when I started, there's a quote that on the other side of fear is limitless possibilities. And that's so true. And I've got kids, so they take me to like Kings Island or some of these places with these huge roller coasters that I don't want to get on. But you know what? Hey, if it scares me, I'm going to do it. And then you get on a roller coaster, you're like,
Nice.
well, that wasn't too bad,
Right.
I survived.
I only
So
threw up in my mouth a little bit. It's
Right.
okay. So you mentioned that you had a life coach. Did the life coach help you get through that?
yeah, the nice thing about a life coach, so something that you gotta remember is there's no like license or certificate. I mean, there are certifications. You can say, "Hey, look, I'm a life coach," but if you're going to look for a life coach, you got to find somebody that you mesh with well. And this individual did. I originally went to. He's a hypnotist, and I originally went to
I thought you were going
him.
to say a hitman for some reason.
Hitman, no, maybe I don't know. He didn't share that with me.
He
Sorry.
assassinates fear. He assassinates fear.
Yeah, there you go. So I originally went to him thinking, he's going to hypnotize me. I'm going to walk out of the office and be, a new man. But
Yeah.
it wasn't that. He did help me, to have somebody there and kind of. I truly believe he was probably speaking from experience on everything he talked me through. And here's a funny thing about, you could hear a positive message, or you could hear somebody tell you do ABC 100 times, and you just lose it. But then on 101st time, for some reason, the person that said it and how they said it sticks with you. And I think that's having a mentor or having a life coach to help you figure out where you're falling short and why you're falling short is it did help me a lot, and pushing through and getting into Toastmasters and doing other things to face those fears. So yeah, it did benefit me, but I would always say you got to find somebody that you mesh with well when it comes to life coaching.
Right. And guys, at jpina123 is my Venmo, and it will get you an appointment with me. I'm not a life coach and I'm not a therapist, but I'm married to one. That's all I want to say.
Well, you can say, hey, if you've lived a life, you're a life coach, right? You can always, there's something to
Right.
learn from you. There's something to learn
I
from
can
you.
show you how to do C plus work, 2% effort, and just kind of sail through life. That's what I can teach you at Joe Baker Dash Photo.
I'm gonna read you some comments here, Brian, because we do have some people who've been sharing stuff, legit stuff, than what we were just going through.
Yeah, then with
Linda
y'all.
says, taking the first steps.
Steps.
Oh,
She corrected it in the next statement.
oh, okay. Steps are the hardest. You just have to keep taking those steps, one right after the other. Sounds like you're well on your way to climbing your mountains.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So, well, I'll say I could share a story, but if you want to read some more comments, there's something that just happened this past weekend that I think speaks to what Linda's saying.
Go for it.
Okay, so this past Saturday, I had the opportunity to participate in a service day for one of the local churches here, and they were doing a variety of things: painting, landscaping, general cleaning. I got assigned with two other individuals that our job was to remove this shrub, the evergreen shrub that's out in front of the church.
Mhm.
And this wasn't like a normal, like, small shrub. This thing was well over 6 feet tall and, probably 5 to 6 feet wide and round. So me and these two other guys, we've got a chainsaw, we've got a bow saw, and we've got an axe. And we're like, well, how do we want to take the, well, this is easy. Let's just chop out the limbs, and there's going to be this small little stump that we can easily take care of. So we chop out all the limbs, but what we're looking at is this 24-inch, like, mangled. It was a monster. If it was like the monster of stumps. I've never, it was. We had no idea how we're going to tackle this. So we take the chainsaw and we start cutting. Well, we run the chainsaw blade dull. We run it out of gas. So that chainsaw's done. We take the bow saw. The bow saw does absolutely nothing to this thing. So all we have left is this axe. And so one of the guys picks up the axe and he starts chopping away at it. He runs out of gas. I take the axe. I start chopping away with it. I run out of gas. Next guy. Well, it got to the point we finally hacked off a big, like, 6-inch piece of this stump, and man, we went crazy. It was like, we won the World Series or something. Yeah, we're high fiving, and then we're going back to chopping, and every time we would chop off a piece of this stump, it was like we were kids. We're like, oh yeah, we're going crazy, and finally, you chop off enough pieces, and you've got the stump taken care of. And as I'm driving home, I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, that is like the ultimate lesson in overcoming whatever it is, right? Keep chopping, and every time you knock off a piece, no matter how small it is, celebrate. Give yourself a high five.
Celebrate those accomplishments.
Yeah. So that kind of goes to what Linda was it Linda that had the comment that she was saying that you just keep taking those steps, and then every time you hit a milestone, even if it's a small milestone, then you celebrate it. And I think if we did that more, a lot more people would be able to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish in life.
Yeah, Brian. So every 100 steps that I do on my Apple Watch, I go get me get me a Dairy Queen Blizzard. So
yes,
I award myself every time.
Yeah, and it's inspiration to continue taking steps. Right?
Exactly. I'm just saying I'm gonna keep taking steps because I need some more blizzards in my life.
1,300 calories.
Priscilla came in and she said she needed people. So then I asked her, what do you mean, Priscilla? Is there a question you want to ask Brian or share a story with him? And then she shared that, I guess I just need some motivation too. I can relate to everything he is saying. And so anyhow, I'm just giving that to you to be like, so there's some people who you're resonating with tonight.
Yeah. And Priscilla, I would tell you, so one of the biggest things that I did, and I'm happy I did, in my, even I was into my 40s. I decided, I wanted to, it originally started out as I want to lose some weight and get in shape. So I started training as a boxer, and I started going to this gym, and I was surrounded with MMA fighters, kickboxers, boxers, and as I got comfortable and I got to know people and learn, you're right. Having people around you, it was like it wasn't just a bunch of people training. It became, they call them my fight family, right?
Mhm.
I looked forward to going in and learning from them. And then eventually there came a point where the head instructor's like, hey, can you help so and so? Can you hold mitts for so and so? And there, I think there's a handful of things that you want to have in place as you're, looking to push through whatever it is you're dealing with, and having a support staff, somebody in your corner, somebody to keep cheering you on, that's vital. And that's what I found in that gym. We were just a family helping each other. It didn't matter if you were new and didn't know anything, or you were the most experienced of the bunch. We were all there to support everybody else's growth. So having people is important. And there's lots of ways to find that, right? There's clubs and organizations and gyms. I would highly encourage you to find your tribe, right?
And Brian, and going back to another thing, just saying that you need people, you also said too, you have to learn to love yourself.
Yes.
Learn to be by yourself so that you can appreciate your people once you find that tribe. And that's kind of, one thing is you said I had a boxing family at one point, and now I have a running family, and those are my people. If
You had a boxing family, Sandy?
when I was a kickboxer for a while.
What? Joe, are you serious?
Yeah, and
If she
so
said so, yeah.
right.
Oh, he made it sound like he'd been to one of your matches.
That was my family for a while, and now I have my run family. But I've always had my tribe. I've always had a tribe, and it's so important because there's times when you need that motivation, and it's hard to get out and do it on your own. So yeah, definitely, I agreed with you. Get you a tribe for sure.
And what you said, Zane, I mean, that's spot on though. Before you surround yourself with anybody, you've got to be your biggest supporter. You got to be your biggest fan. You've got to love yourself more than anybody else, because the fact of the matter is nobody's going to be a bigger fan than you of yourself, or opposite, right? Maybe you're the biggest detractor of yourself. So that's where you need to learn, okay, regardless of what you've got going on, you've always got to remember that you are you, and you have qualities and benefits and things that people need from you.
For sure.
And I'm sorry.
Nope.
Were you saying something, Sandy? Oh, and Brian, that's a good point, because man, I was talking with a buddy of mine before the show started, and I had to tell, he was sharing a lot of heavy stuff, and I was like, man, I could tack on a couple of these different things. I was like, so I'll just mention them so we can come back to them later. I was like, but I want to leave you with this big thing. And I was like, you need to have more be more, advocate for yourself more. You are important. You matter. You feel a lot of different things, but first you should be feeling that you are important enough for attention, whether it's from yourself or from your spouse or kids or whoever it is. You need to put yourself in that spot, not a pedestal, but you need to put yourself in a healthy spot that says, you know what, I'm important. I'm worthy of someone's time. If I've scheduled time with you, if I call Joe and I say, hey, call me back, and he doesn't call me back, but I keep calling and calling, I feel like, dude, I matter. If I call you, you should call me. I get you can't answer every one of my calls, but man, if you hear me calling you a few times a week or something like that, it means I need to talk to you. So not that he doesn't. He's good at answering my calls, okay? Joe and Sandy are both great when I call them and either returning my calls or telling me, hey, I can't answer. So, but my point being, back to what you're saying, Brian, is and what Sandy was saying is I feel like we don't hear it enough. We need to have a buddy we can have in life. We can be like, man, can you just help me? I need a tribe that helps me realize that I am worth something, and I can just call them up and be like, I just need to hear it. And they're like, dude, you rock. I don't care what anyone makes you feel or you think, you rock right now, and you are worth it. So do it,
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but
no.
If you struggle with self-esteem issues and you have a hard time finding that worth in yourself, that's a hard place to be, because I've been there, and I know it's hard to sit here and convince yourself that you're pretty, or you're fun to be around, or whatever it is. You've got to slowly start chipping away at those false,
Demons, those
yeah, those
demons.
those false
Hmm.
thoughts, those demons that are trying to, the little devil that's on your shoulder trying to tell you you're not worth it. But while you're pecking away at that with yourself and learning to love yourself, like you said, having people to call or around you, hey, your friends and family are best people to go to and say, hey, what's a good quality about me? Let people tell you what it is. Just don't be dependent on it. That's
Right.
Well, Brian, and I'll tell you this: Mexican families will roast you, so don't.
And they're like, "What's wrong?
Come on,
What's wrong
get
with
us.
you?"
Just pay for therapy, people. Don't go.
Right? Yeah.
I took 1 year of Spanish in high school, and they gave me the name Gringo. So I thought maybe they were kind of roasting me with that
Yeah,
name.
they
Oh,
were.
They were.
I want to get some more comments real quick, if you don't mind. We've got. Where
Okay, so,
did I leave at, Joe? Did you see?
the Carrie Patton Jackson at the
Carrie.
top. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The win-win is the therapy in the writing for yourself, then being transparent in your sharing, so mental health isn't a taboo topic for others. Right on. Good on you, Brian. Sounds like you're walking in your purpose.
Thank you. Yeah, no, one thing I decided when I decided I wanted to be a speaker, I told myself I'm going to be vulnerable, because I can't be a speaker behind closed doors. Then I'm just in it for what, in it for the money, or in it for fame, or whatever. I didn't want to be that guy, and so it's important to me to be very transparent and very vulnerable. And you find once you start doing that, you get a little more comfortable with yourself as well. So
I'm going to
that's a
hit on
big.
a few different comments here. They all kind of tie together. So I'll hit here first with Linda saying, "So many people suffer from depression, but it usually is a quiet situation. They don't tell everyone they are depressed. You have to learn to recognize the depression and work yourself out of it. No one around you can totally pull you out. It is up to you." And then
I agree with that, Linda.
Go with the
Priscilla right
yeah.
here. "That's my downfall, Sandy, not loving myself." Carrie said, "You just hit on something. If you're someone who hasn't experienced depression, then be the loudest person in the stands for someone else anyway."
Always.
I do want to. Oh, what?
Always.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. So I do feel I loved all those comments. Let me just mention this one thing real quick. The part about work yourself out of it. No one around you can totally pull you out of it. It is up to you. I do want to say that is not always the case. So there are two vastly different forms of depression that we don't always consider. The major one is clinical depression, which is where there are people who have zero ability to not feel depression on their own. Clinical depression requires medication
Right.
to supplement the
Serotonin
receptors.
the chemicals in your brain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're external medication is required to supplement the internal chemicals in your brain that processes depression. So without those medications, you can't physically feel undepressed, if that makes sense. So I want to make sure we talk about this. And the only reason I know this is obviously because Dr. Pineapples, we talk about this at times. And so clinical depression, people don't have a choice. Much
Right.
like someone who has an arm that's amputated, they can't physically hold an object with that arm that's been physically amputated. Much same way, a person who is clinically depressed, they have no choice in feeling it. So telling someone to get up off their bed and get off their butts, that's not going to help them out, no matter how many times you want it.
In
Now,
that
the other
instance.
depression, which is kind of like seasonal depression, where we're feeling in the blues, we're feeling that, well, we still get up and go to work. Like that's something that you can help people get out of with some stuff. But that
Right.
one doesn't require medication. So anyway, sorry. Brian.
No, yeah, it's a good point. I personally suffer from major depressive disorder, or whatever they call it, and I'm in that camp where I do take medicine to help try to balance things out. And there are days, when I have control of it, and there's days when it has control of me, right? And it's I've got to do a lot of self-talk, and I used to be a very busy person where I didn't like holding still, but one thing I guess the one good thing that I've taken out of the depression and anxiety that I've been facing this year is I'm taking more time. I'll go sit on the deck at night, look up at the stars, and just kind of be present in the moment, and that's really helping me out a lot. But yeah, there are days when there have been days where I can't get out of bed, or there's days when I'm crying for no good reason, right? Like, somebody brings me a piece of cake and I'm like, oh, thank you. The tears start following, so it's a weird thing, but you don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mm-mm.
And that's what I had to stop being afraid. I had to stop being the big strong man, and finally, I just went to the doctor and cried and said, help me, I'm broke.
It's
Yeah.
hard, right? We have a society that has been built upon these layers that it's not a healthy thing, or we're not men, or we're not adults, we're not men and women if we need to see a therapist. Like, it is
Right.
a taboo subject, right? So we're getting close to the end time, but I do want to hit up some of these comments because there's some people who are saying some good things, Brian, and I want you to see it or be able to comment about it. Carrie said earlier up here, fear is a liar. It is not a gift of the spirit. This takes so long to learn.
Yeah.
Joanne was saying self-worth. Carrie's here again. She says, yes, Jaime, and to add to that, your gifts are not just for you. Think on this. If Brian hadn't overcome certain things and wasn't here tonight sitting on his gifts of communication, we wouldn't be given this gift of opening the door for self-love. One more time for the people in the back. Your gifts are not just for you.
Yeah, that's great. I like that, and that's so true.
Yeah. Man, and we talk, mental health. That's why I say it's a good topic. I'm glad that you're one of the proponents for positive mental health, and that you're going to use your story for out there. Man, when you finish your book, or when you get to another spot where you have an update you want to share about what's going on with conquering Everest, please let us know. We would love to have an update down the road and see where you're at with things.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be a quick read for people like me that can't read 150-page book. It'll probably be
Is
a
it
little
gonna
bit.
have pictures? Because I really like pictures.
I don't know if it'll have pictures, but it's something that I'll probably throw out on Amazon for like dirt cheap, 99 cents or something. Because I just want to get if anything, I want to be able to help people realize that like I don't recall who said, but fear is a liar. And
Right.
once you stand up to it and you get to the other side of it, then you start to share your gifts. Because that last comment was great. It was, if I wouldn't have joined Toastmasters and overcome my fear of public speaking, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Because if I would have been asked to get on a podcast in front of who knows how many people, I'd be like, nope. What?
You said podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jamie's
Whatever.
eye is twitching.
Yeah. I have podcast on the brain.
That's okay. That's okay. He's the only one that gets upset about it. We don't mind.
Anyhow, thanks for sharing your story, Brian. I appreciate that.
Brian.
Where's the boot button, real quick?
Brian, he came on and he actually said he actually liked you, but I think you've been demoted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Sorry
It
for you.
happens.
Sorry about that.
Man,
But anyhow,
time flies. Time
does.
flies.
Look at that. So, Brian, before we let you go, we actually like to do a couple different things with our guests, and one of those things is we'd like to give you some screen time to share whatever message you have for anyone. If it's the best brownie recipe you have, the mean curveball you can throw, whatever that is, we want to give you the time to tell everyone what it is. Okay?
All right. Oh wow! I didn't. Now my screen. I'm talking about getting used to seeing yourself on camera. I guess I would just share with everybody. This is a journey for me, and like I said, I consider myself an experiential speaker, writer, creator. Everything that I put out there for the public to see. I'm either going through it or I've been through it. And so I would invite everyone. I don't have a whole lot going on other than the podcast that I started. The book's not quite ready yet, but if you do want to check out the podcast, or at least the 2 episodes that I have out there right now, please go to www.conqueringeverest.com. That'll take you right there. You'll be able to click on the episodes and listen to it. And as the book gets in development and closer to publication, I will certainly make sure I reach back out. And like I said, it's my goal with this book is I'm not trying to become rich. I want to give this thing away because really I just want to help people overcome the fears and insecurities, because like I said, for 40 years my life was dictated by fears. My decisions, the things that I did, the people I associated with, was all based out of my lack of self-esteem and self-love. So if I can, reach anybody 40, at any age, but hopefully especially the younger crowd, 20s, 30s, before you get to your 40s, there's so much that we all have to offer people, and there's no perfect time to get started except for right now. And so I just hope to be a shining light in the darkness out there.
Awesome. I
Awesome.
love that. A shining light in the darkness. And that's why we always say be kind, because you never know what somebody is going through, Brian.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
Hey,
Don't
Brian,
be
we
afraid
have
to reach out
one.
to somebody.
Yeah, we have one more comment here, and I don't know if you can answer it or not. But Linda Sheik, one of our best viewers.
Yeah.
Is there a
Top
way
fan.
we can? Yeah, she's a top fan. Is there a way we can help someone who's depressed and you can tell they do not love themselves? How do I make someone care?
Well, I think, that's a tough one, because you're not going to make it. You can't force somebody to go to therapy. You can't force somebody to tell their doctor they're depressed. What you can do, though, is truly be a friend to them, talk to them, listen to them. There's an expression that I used to hate, but I now I now love, and I used to hear, "It's okay not to be okay," and I was like, "No, that's not true. You've got to be okay." But now that I'm not always okay, I've realized it is okay not to be okay. Just have compassion and love for those individuals. You can encourage them to talk to folks. Get a therapist, talk to their doctors. You're not going to be able to make them go, but what you can do is just give them unconditional love.
And you know what? Be a good listener. I'm still working on that skill. Good listener. Because if you're telling me something, I'm already getting ready to hit you with the chancla, like snap out of it. I'm a tough love kind of person.
At least she loves you. At least she loves you.
Right.
And then, for our final question, Brian, before we let you go, is we like to ask our guests for a topic for a future episode. And so with that in mind, do you have a topic for a future episode that you'd like for us to cover?
I don't know if you've already covered it, so if you have, I can come up with another one. But something fun and interesting that I like to explore is time travel. Have you guys done time travel?
Yes.
Holy
Oh, wait, we did cover that. No, I didn't.
smokes!
That would be my request.
Time
is time
travel.
Got it. That's a good one. I can't wait to figure out how
We're doing that
do
tomorrow. Just cancel our guest, and we're going to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, if we do, I'm gonna make you do it because her smile is too good to have for me to
Okay.
cancel.
Break it to her.
I'm it. Never
Oh,
mind.
Sandy would have to do it. Never mind.
Yeah, we'll make Sandy do it. Make Sandy do
No, I'm not gonna do that.
it.
Well, Brian, thank you so much, man. We loved having you hanging around. I hope you had a good time. We're gonna let you go, but if you want to stick around for the after show, we'll be back there as soon as we're done here.
Thank you,
All
Brian.
right.
We
Thanks,
appreciate
Brian.
you.
for being
Thank
so
you.
open.
Thanks.
Man,
And guys, we
that was
will.
powerful episode there.
Yeah, it was. I liked it. I'm putting his
His podcast.
his Conquering Everest website in the chat right now,
Perfect.
so that you guys can go and check that out. I like all the positive messages and things that you guys are talking about tonight. I do want to share this picture real quick that one of the viewers sent in, just real fast.
Real fast. Real fast.
Right there it says, "Choose happy. Your gifts are not just for you."
Amen. Amen. And see, that's the thing is, like, we all have different gifts. I think all three of us have the gift of gab. and
Yes.
we'll always talk to you. For
My
a
wife
low
would agree with you.
dash Sandy dash Abby.
At JPina123.
At Joe-Baker-Photo.
So we'll always talk to you for a nominal fee.
Right.
Yes.
Right. If you need us to just talk and talk and talk, we can do that.
I went upstairs to Dr. Pineapples and I said, Dr. Pineapples, Dr. Pineapples. I was like, can I get paid just by calling myself like a good advice giver? Like, am I going to get in trouble, or can I just tell people, yeah, I'm a good advice giver. You should come talk to me. And listener. And she was like, I don't know. As long as your lawyers are okay with it, maybe. So
No, there's people that get paid for cuddling.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
There's people that get paid for cuddling. Why not?
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't
You're
go.
not selling me on that one. Y'all want me to get in trouble, don't y'all?
No, you just cuddle with the person. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's
So,
legal.
but if you say you're an advice giver and it's like it's not good or bad, it's just advice.
Right.
Okay, she may not have the right answer, but she'll have an answer.
Exactly.
And
That's
then
it.
I'll put in parentheses for entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
There
call
you go.
Yo, today.
You're covered. We're covered. I'll set up a 1-900 number. Here's.
Do they still have those? Linda said, great show. Great job, Brian.
Good job.
And then Andrea said, wonderful guess. And
I
then
those
if that girl can get paid to act like a dog.
Amen, girl. I sure did. I sent her. There's this girl that quit her day job and she gets paid to act like a dog.
I'm glad that you know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
'Cause I was like, totally lost. Hey, so who do we have coming up tomorrow?
Guys, we got AJ coming onto the show tomorrow. And she was actually, I think Sandy found her, to be honest.
Okay,
Hey.
so we were looking for, I believe, a paint therapist, and someone said, "Hey, AJ does really good." And anyway, she didn't fit the paint therapy, but she fit as a good guest. So
Yes. She's very positive. She has, she
she's a great
does.
smile. I was looking at her.
I know.
Is she
It's
very-
so hard to go past that because I'm like, man, it's a
She
pretty
looked like she had
infectious
some type
smile.
of magical. Isn't she kind of magical?
She's got
So,
maybe.
she has a very from the best way I can explain it right now, she has a very positive pro women group. That's about as general as I can get. I'll let her explain it more, but it's a very positive pro female group engagement of some kind. She's going to talk to us about it. Yeah, I read about it. It's just hard for me to say it. I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to it if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
we need her to explain. So don't cancel her. We'll talk about time travel later.
So guys, come and hang out with us tomorrow night. Thursday night, we got Julian coming on. He's a voice actor. Can't wait to hear him talk. We probably actually all have heard him talk at some point or another. Anyway, as usual,
Remember to wash your hands.
for at least 20 seconds.
You filthy animals.
I
There,
feel
B.
good.
How you like that, B?
Yeah, B.
B, you know what? B still said it better than you.
You know what? So
What?
Joe and I practice our accents for the voice actor. Joe.
Oh, yes. Yes, we're
Gosh.
going to.
Yes.
No.
Top of the morning
That's
to ya.
the kind
That's
of voice acting
great.
he does.
That's great.
Y'all didn't
I can't
listen to
wait.
his demos, did y'all?
I
At
can't
all.
wait.
I did.
I don't even know where you
You
sent
did,
them.
Sandy?
Where did you send them?
In the private chat.